Crossroads are everywhere in life. Sometimes you don't know you were even at a crossroad until further down the track when you reflect back. But it's painfully obvious, especially to those connected to the Western Bulldogs Football Club, that Jamarra Ugle-Hagan is at a pivotal crossroad in his life. In 10 years' time, we might be saying what a career he had, filled with hundreds of goals, big finals performances, and perhaps a Coleman medal or two. What's looking more likely is that in 10 years' time, we will all remember Ugle-Hagan as another one of those talented players who, quote, could have been anything, or at worst, a player who retired early in a similar fashion to another Bulldog and former number one pick in Tom Boyd. History often repeats itself. The situation currently is not good. Ugle-Hagan did not attend the Bulldogs camp in Queensland and has been spotted less frequently at the football club the longer pre-season has progressed and the more the news surrounding his personal issues has surfaced. Training and fitness is the least of Ugle-Hagan's issues. Sam Power, the acting head of football at the Bulldogs, told SEN, "To be honest, the training and playing side of things isn't the number one priority at the moment. The priority really is to support him through these challenges and deal with the different things he's facing. Hopefully he'll overcome those, but from a short-term perspective, it's really the support and the welfare." There is no time frame for his return, although the club is hopeful he can still have some impact in 2025. The Herald Sun has already hinted at the possibility of drug and alcohol problems, and family issues have also been mentioned. Ugle-Hagan did miss training on the Monday before the elimination final, and rumours that he spent time in Bali during the bye-week break have been present for some time. It is a fact he missed the Monday training session before the final, but if the Bali story is true, surely a news service would have reported it by now. But they are called personal issues for a reason. The truth is Ugle-Hagan is a raw human being at just 22 years old. For those of you who don't know, Ugle-Hagan did not have an upbringing like most Australian children. He went into this on an appearance on the Unlaced podcast that aired midway through last season.
So I grew up on we call it a mission. So it's an Indigenous community where there's just like our whole family's out there, like my cousins next door, my aunties across the road. I've got my uncle down the road. I've got my nan 50 metres down the road. Like, it's all of us. We've got the basketball courts. We've got the tennis courts, playground at the front yard. Like, and it's just ours. Like, I can go around, like, I started driving, like, I don't know if I could say this, but I started driving my car at like 5 years old, because I'd go to my uncle's house. I'd go sleep there for 2 days. I'd go to my nan's house and sleep there for 3 days. My mum wouldn't even know where I am. And I'd rock up and say, "Oh, where have you been?" I've just been down the road. And that's it. Like, and then if you're hungry, and if let's say we had no food in the cupboard or anything, like nothing, wow, I'd have to go down and like, I'd just go house to house, go get feed, go get lunch, go get dinner somewhere else. But if you had no...
Ugle-Hagan explained that some days going to school he had no food, and on some occasions he would have to wear his mother's shoes. He was isolated from the big world, and it was a shock when his athletic ability got him the chance to attend private schooling.
I hardly knew anything about Melbourne when I first came up. I did a couple of cross-country runnings up here, or like athletics and stuff. But other than that, I had no idea. And Scotch College, I didn't know what that was either. I thought Mum was like, "Oh, you're going to go like to the boarding school, Scotch College?" I was like boarding school, like, what, am I in trouble? Like, because that's how she used to say, "Oh, I'll send you to boarding school." And then now I went to boarding school. I'm like, well, what have I done? But my family, my family, so I was the first male to graduate school in general from my community.
After his schooling, he was then drafted number 1 overall without even playing a game in 2020 due to COVID, and has developed since. But this little example of Ugle-Hagan receiving new shoes is probably the best example of his sudden rise from mission housing to getting paid millions to kick a football, and the possible challenges that come with that.
That's what I mean. Like, I couldn't even afford my shoes, and now I'm getting new boots every weekend. Like, I'm like, I used to have one pair for 2 years. Now I'm getting 4 pairs every second week. Literally, that's what I mean. Yeah, like, it's crazy that. And then it is hard to keep your balance with like family and stuff as well.
Yeah.
Because it's so easy to be like, oh, I'm busy, I've got this on, but you're actually just tired and you want to relax.
Ugle-Hagan further went on to describe the culture shock of living at Scotch College, his frustration of not playing straight away at the Bulldogs, and then the realisation of what it actually took to make it and play at the AFL level. It's an incredibly unique background compared to most AFL players who would have spent their early years within a country town, in outer suburbs, or in their major city. This isn't at all an excuse for Ugle-Hagan if he has serious behavioural problems, but it does provide some context and understanding of where he has come from and the temptations that might arise in the present day. But with all of this, he has still performed. 103 goals in 67 games is great for any young key forward. His total goals and average goals per game have improved all 4 years in the AFL, and in 2024, Ugle-Hagan averaged the 4th most shots at goal per game, just behind Joe Danaher, Charlie Curnow and Jeremy Cameron. Keep in mind, he also has to share a forward 50 with Aaron Norton, Sam Darcy and Cody Waitman. Now he has struggled at times with consistency and his set shot accuracy, but in the overall picture, Ugle-Hagan was tracking extremely well. He's also produced a handful of match-winning efforts. In 2022, he kicked 5 goals against the reigning premiers Melbourne in round 19. In round 3 of 2023, he kicked 5 goals against Brisbane after a racial attack earlier in the week, and most notably last season, from rounds 18 to 21, he kicked 14 goals, including 4 each against Carlton, Geelong and Sydney. That form line is more than just talent. Ugle-Hagan was producing against the very best, but his season crescendo was a 4 disposal effort against Hawthorn in the elimination final where he was terrible, and that is the last image we have of him on an AFL field. We have all been here before, watching and hoping that others talented like Ugle-Hagan decided to take the right path. Another Indigenous player in Eddie Betts struggled with the professionalism early on in his career. A 2009 night out, when he ended up in a jail cell, was his turning point. I was sitting in a jail cell that night and someone else was in the corner laying on the hard bed and he was shaking, and I was thinking to myself, what the hell am I doing here? Betts would go on to play 350 AFL games. Tyson Stengel famously went from delisted to premiership hero in just 12 months at Geelong. Betts was a key role model in that. And even the competition's last Coleman medalist in Jesse Hogan has blossomed in the past few seasons after dealing with his own personal battles over a long period of time. Now some are lost and can't turn their life or professional standards around, but there are so many past examples of change. It might take 2 weeks, a couple months, or even multiple years to get it right, but it can be done. So right now, all we can do is watch on again. The Bulldogs and perhaps League Office will try their best to provide the support Ugle-Hagan needs. At the end of the day, it is up to him. Only himself and perhaps a handful of others really know what is going on, whether it is to do with his health, family or professional drive. Being a star forward at 22 is a dream for most young boys growing up in Australia, but it might not be Ugle-Hagan's. If that's the decision he makes, then that's fair enough. If he does end up retiring or can't deal with his complex issues, you would hate for him to be 30 and look back and ponder what if. Ugle-Hagan's situation is unique right now, but others before him have had the crossroads in front of them. His next turn might be the most important for his football and more importantly, his life.